New Amsterdam, episode 10, Cold Silver. The hospital is on lockdown. Keep it locked.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, y'all, what's up? Welcome to the after show for New Amsterdam. Also, the first show of the new year for New Amsterdam. So happy New Year to all of you. I am your man, Tyler Tyson. I am going to break down tonight's episode. So much happened. I mean, it was jam-packed. The hospital is on lockdown. Dr. Reynolds gets stabbed while he's in the ER. Dr. Sharpe and Max stage a trap. I mean, there's just so much, and I will get to all of that in just one quick minute. But first, let me give you my thoughts on this overall episode. I loved it. You guys know New Amsterdam never lacks on the drama, and they came in swinging for the first episode coming out of their winter break, and it was just amazing. I mean, from the moment it started, I was on the edge of my seat, and I'm sure you guys were as well. So let's go ahead and break down all of the topics that I thought were pertinent to tonight's episode, starting with the first thing that kind of stood out to me was the fact that Dr. Reynolds got stabbed. I almost said shot. Got stabbed while he was in the OR. So you guys know Dr. Reynolds is the cardiologist. He's the head of the cardiology department, and he was performing an operation on an inmate that had been what's the word I'm looking for? She was stabbed, but there's like a slang word that I was trying to pull, but I'm not thinking of it at the moment. But anyway, this particular inmate, she was stabbed by another inmate, and so he was performing an emergency surgery. So while he's performing the surgery, as you all saw in tonight's episode, the hospital is on lockdown. He's continuing on with, things as normal because, as he said on the show, we have a job to do. So his entire staff and crew, they were there still performing this surgery, and this inmate kind of snuck in because, when you have on your scrubs and the mask and everything, all you really see is someone's eyes. And, she was able to kind of sneak in and infiltrate into the OR. And while she was basically trying to give the final or the fatal stab to the patient that was there that they had attempted to kill the first time, but it didn't work, she meanwhile also stabbed Dr. Reynolds. And so and stabbed him in his side. So he's losing a lot of blood while he's trying to perform the surgery. And of course, as always, his little sidekick, I can't think of I think his name is Duke at the moment. He stepped up and he helped his mentor and put some pressure on that wound so that he wouldn't lose consciousness because he was losing quite a bit of blood. And they were able to save that particular patient. Meanwhile, the woman that stabbed the Dr. Reynolds just kind of was there, and eventually she did get apprehended, but it was just such a touch and go situation. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where someone comes into the OR and stabs the person performing the surgery. So it was just such a high intense moment. But something else, you guys know, if you've been following this after show, you guys know how I feel about Dr. Reynolds and his relationship with Evie, who is his fiance, who got offered a job in San Francisco. And we talked about this last year, and that was kind of a cliffhanger. And we saw at the end of tonight's episode that he basically is still committed to her. Initially, that was a deal breaker for him, but after, I guess, his near-death experience, he is open to the idea of her taking the job in San Francisco and they're making it work. So as you all know, I'm not too thrilled about this because I still want to see this relationship come to an end, but I don't think I'm going to get my wish anytime soon. So there we go with Dr. Reynolds and Evie. Moving on to the very next topic that I thought was it was pretty much the focal point of the entire episode, or one of, which was Dr. Sharpe and Max. So Dr. Sharpe, once again, because this was last season they had us on a cliffhanger, so I'm trying to catch you guys up from everything that happened last season. So if I keep referring to last season or last year, just bear with me. So when we left in November, you guys know that Dr. Sharpe had been demoted by the board. They had basically taken her status and everything because she was caught going in and out of what they call a drug den. She was helping a patient basically administer their drugs safely, even though they were illegal drugs. She was helping them do that. There's a way to kind of wean people off from their addictions when they can't necessarily do it cold turkey and they can't necessarily go into the typical type of rehab. But nonetheless, she got reprimanded for that and she was demoted. Max came in and he said that it's not fair and that he's going to do everything possible to get her reinstated and all of that. While that is going on, while they were talking about all of that, that is almost the exact moment when the hospital goes into lockdown. And so when the hospital's in lockdown, there's all of this commotion. She stays on, she helps, and they get everything under control. They have a system in place, only to find out that the one inmate that they kind of felt compassion for and that they really felt attached to and they really felt some type of connection with from the previous episode, she is the main one running around the hospital with a gun. And I'm referring to the inmate whose name is Jackie. And once they find this out, Jackie now takes Dr. Sharpe and Max and also another inmate that they were helping who had been stabbed also. She takes all of them hostage, basically, and Jackie realizes that the woman in the OR that Dr. Reynolds is trying to save is basically still alive, and meaning they didn't kill her like they intended to. And so she now wants them to take her to the OR, back through all the police, back through all the security, and unbeknownst to the rest of us, Dr. Sharpe was leading Jackie into a trap. So all of that ties up with Dr. Sharpe leading them into the room that she's thinking is the OR. I think it was OR number 7, which was the one they were trying to find. Dr. Sharpe takes her into this room that she thinks is the OR, only for it to be a setup and a trap where all of these policemen are there and everyone leaves that situation okay, unharmed, and everything seems to be okay. Jackie is taken back into custody, back to Rykers Island where she belongs, and everything seems to be okay from that point. Now, we still don't know what's going to happen with Dr. Sharpe. At this point, she is still demoted, but unlike at the beginning of the episode where she was willing to walk away from New Amsterdam, she's now at least saying that she's going to be around for a little bit longer. So that is something that we can look forward to regarding that storyline. And I can't wait to see what happens with that because the next episode is all about Dr. Sharpe from the previews that I have just seen. So before I get into our next topic, though, I want to thank you guys for making us the ESPN of talk. And as you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can stay in the know with everything that we have going on. And also, if you're listening to any of our podcasts on iTunes or any of them, please give us our 5 stars and continue to help make us the ESPN of TV talk. Thank you. Yay, I love sound effects. So, all right, next topic that I want to jump into, which is a huge topic, which was Dr. Fromm and Martin. So if you remember from the previous episode, and actually most of this season, Dr. Fromm, he has been on this search to adopt another child. Now, you guys know that the couple, they have already adopted, I believe, 3 children. He wants a 4th. And they had at one point talked, it was a small talk, but they talked and agreed that they were going to look into adopting a 4th child. Well, Dr. Fromm did a little bit more than look into it. He pretty much got all the way to adopting the child. And Martin, which is his husband, he found out about this. And of course, he was livid. And so throughout this entire time, Dr. Fromm has been sleeping at the hospital because Martin told him that he couldn't come home. So they have this moment. Martin comes to the hospital because Dr. Fromm has asked him to come, and they're supposed to sit down and talk, only to find out that Dr. Fromm once again has to cancel their talk because he has work to do. And I knew, just based off of how the show was going, I knew that her name is Tabitha. She was the doctor that he was about to fire. I knew that she was going to be the one to basically give them a one-on-one therapy / counseling session, and thus her job would be saved as a result of that. And that is exactly what happened. But in this therapy session, which we've talked on this show about therapy and how important it is. And I think this show just highlights one more time exactly how important and crucial therapy can be no matter where you are in your life, whether it's one-on-one or with a couple, or if you're in a couple. They sat down and they talked and they hashed out their issues, and 2 things kind of came to light. One of the things was, it's not that Martin was disappointed in adopting the 2nd child. It was the fact that he feels like his needs were never met or are never met in this relationship. He sees his husband tending to the needs of everyone else, which is one of the things that he likes about him. But in doing that, he never actually tends to his needs being Martin. And I think that is something that happens a lot in relationships. Someone is skilled in a certain area, and that's usually why we end up liking that person, or one of the reasons. And somehow, some way, I think we take the person we're in a relationship with for granted some type of way, which is exactly what Dr. Fromm was doing. So that was brought to the light. But then what was also brought to the light is that this guy that is helping all of these people deal with their mental issues has a mental issue of his own, which is that he doesn't think that he is worthy of anything great. Basically, outside of helping people, he feels like helping people is his superpower and what makes him special and great. But outside of that, he couldn't name 3 things that he thought made him great, or that he liked about himself, which was what Tabitha asked him to do. And it was just very interesting to me that he could not do that. And I think that a lot of times, those of us that are gifted, most of us that are gifted in whatever area, we kind of put a lot of our weight on that issue. So, for example, myself in hosting, I feel like that's one of the things I'm great at. Now, I don't know how that has affected me in my relationships, but I venture to say that if I wasn't able to be a host, or if someone challenged me to name 3 things about myself that I liked, I think I could actually do that. But I do think I rely heavily on my gift and my talent, which is what Dr. Fromm was doing, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. So I just thought it was a great moment, and for so many different reasons. That episode ended with their coming to an understanding of each other, both of them confessing the fact that they still very much love each other, and that this is something that they can work past, which is a stark difference from where they started. Because at the beginning of this, Martin felt betrayed. He was done. Like, he was saying goodbye to Dr. Fromm the entire time, which kind of leads to our new segment, which is a question of the week. So let's go ahead and get into a brand new segment this year, bringing you guys something new, which is our question of the week. So my question of the week is basically, I'm going to always pose a question. The question will somehow be related to this episode, but it also is related to real life. And it gives us an opportunity to talk not just about the episode, but also about this particular topic or whatever the question is via YouTube or social media. So my question of the week is, whether you're in a relationship or not, how do you forgive someone that you feel betrayed you? And are there certain things that are just unforgivable? Now, that is the question. How do you forgive someone that has betrayed you, whether that be a friend, a spouse, a parent? Doesn't matter the relationship. But if you feel betrayed, how do you forgive that person? And are there things that are just not forgivable? Now, if you had asked me this question last year, I would definitely wholeheartedly say that there are certain things that are unforgivable. But now, my stance on that has changed. But I will tell you my stance later. I want to hear what you have to say. Comment below. Let us know what you think about my question, or what your answer is to my question, while I bring you our news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So you guys know this is the first news and gossip of the new year. Not much happened over the winter break because why? We were all on vacation. We were on vacation here at AfterBuzz, and the cast and crew of New Amsterdam were on vacation. So there wasn't much news and gossip to cover between November 21st and now. But the big piece of news that actually came out today via social media on NBC's website and social media pages, that New Amsterdam has been renewed for 3 more seasons, which is huge. It's not just, oh, they've been renewed for another season. A lot of times new shows get a season to season renewal, but they got renewed for 3 more seasons, which is exactly. It is a great thing. I think that is a testament to how great their ratings are. That is a testament to how great the acting in the show actually is. And so what I did for our news and gossip was I brought you just some of the cast's reaction to hearing that they were renewed for 3 seasons. So first up is Jocko Sims. You guys can follow him at Jocko Sims. Check out how he is celebrating the fact that they've been renewed.
We just got picked up for 3 more seasons of New Amsterdam. So I just want to shout to the whole world, how can I help?
I think if I got renewed for 3 seasons on a major network show, my reaction probably would have been very similar to that. But, you know, it is what it is. And then here is a FEMA official who plays Dr. Sharpe and Max when they found out. And so check this out.
Damn, fam. Hi there.
Thank you so much. 3-season pickup.
Very excited.
It's unbelievable.
Unprecedented.
Unfathomable.
Unfathomable. Unbelievable?
This is good. He can
Yeah.
un all day.
No
It
worries.
hasn't even sunk in yet, but thank you for watching, because if you weren't watching the show, if we didn't have people interested and engaged, then actually there
There'd
would
be no
be no
reason
show.
to do this.
No.
So it's because of you.
It's literally
Thank
because
you.
of you.
See you very soon.
Thank you.
Lots of love, Dave.
Love you.
So yes, that is big, exciting news. Everyone is buzzing about the fact that they have been picked up for 3 more seasons. So once again, congratulations and shout out to the entire cast and crew of New Amsterdam on your 3-season pickup. So I do want to go back a little bit and talk about how I feel about this question of the week. I told you that if you had asked me last year this time, or at any point last year, my stance would have been completely different than what it is now. And now I believe that honestly, everything is forgivable for me. Like, yes, I'm going to be pissed at certain things. Yes, I might take a break from you. Yes, there might be times where I can't even deal with you for an extended amount of time, which I don't have a time limit on that. That could be a month, a year, 3 years, whatever. But going through some stuff and kind of understanding myself a little bit and just really understanding the fact that I, Tyler Tyson, am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. That has just changed my view on forgiveness. You know, forgiveness is something that you don't necessarily do for the other person. You do it for yourself, because in order to move on and have a productive life and just be present and get to a place of joy and happiness, you have to let go of whatever the thing is that you're pissed about. And I've said this on other shows before, whether you're parents are in your life, mom or dad, or you had a horrible childhood, or somebody did something, you were bullied as a kid, or you got cheated on, or somebody lied to you, whatever. We all are dealt horrible cards at times, but you just have to accept it, deal with it, and move on. You can't let it, like, you can't walk around with hate. You can't walk around with all of these issues. Just deal with it and let it go. So I am now working to be just the king of forgiveness. That is like my goal for 2020 and beyond.
If I could chime in real quick.
Absolutely.
This is Josh in the booth. I totally 100% agree with you with that. I think everyone, regardless of what they go through, I mean, of course, everyone's natural reaction, and we as human beings, we just get upset over the things, whether it be just something going on in the relationship, or your partner cheated on you, or something in your past that's happened to you. We are going to be initially very angry at that, but then I think one thing that we have to realize is that even if we don't forgive him at this moment, it just takes a little bit of time. Time is the essential remedy of that.
Yeah.
And then most of the times, like me personally, I've been upset with some people in my life, but then once time passes and I really just rethink about the situation, you just always find the dumbest reasons you get mad at them about that. And you're just like, you know what? Is it really something to beef it with them about? Let's just squash it, and then you just kind of go back to the way it was in the beginning.
Yeah, like you said, I think it's all about time. You need time just to process and deal with whatever the thing is. So are you saying, Josh, that there are things that are unforgivable, or are you kind of like me where it's like everything can be forgivable just given the amount of time?
I think anything is forgivable just given the amount of time. I personally can't think of anything right at the top of my head that says it's strictly unforgivable. I mean, maybe, I don't know, something as gruesome as maybe just I don't know. Not to get gruesome or anything, maybe something like murder or anything like that. But
that's probably one I probably can't forgive.
Yeah, that's definitely one you can't forgive right there. But then I guess it was just upset with your upbringing, maybe with one of your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, coming from a family where parents are divorced, and my father was, person in the substance abuse and everything. So everything has its reason. I had my past where I was very upset with my father, but then as time went on, just learning to cope with it and just changing my mindset and just really just seeing where he was at that time was in a great space in his mind, but then seeing him change and everything like that makes the coping process a lot better.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because mine was kind of the reverse. I grew up for, at least 16 years, the first 16 years of my life being upset with my mother. And I got to a point where I forgave the issues and I just let it all go. And now here I am. And when I talk about, the issues that I had with my mother and our relationship or lack of relationship now, or whatever the case may be, I feel like people want me, because when they hear my true story, which I will tell you all my true story one day in a book at some point, when I tell people my true story, they get angry, and then they try to push their anger on me, and they want me to be angry, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm just not. I have forgiven that situation, and I feel like when you forgive someone, sometimes it's hard for others to fully understand how and why you forgave somebody. But like I said, the forgiveness is for you, not necessarily for the person that you are forgiving. So let us know what you think about, the question of the week. This will be something that I do every week so that we can get you talking and keep you guys engaged. And also, just like last year, I still have another special segment, a health special segment that I'll bring to you in just 1 second. I do want to come back and talk about one thing that I did not talk about related to this episode, which was Ella and Dr. Vijay. You guys know Ella is carrying Dr. Vijay's grandchild. We have yet to learn the sex of this particular child. At the top of the episode, Ella was pretty much packed and ready to go be with her family in Idaho. But in lieu of the hostage situation, in lieu of actually being able in a confined, locked space with Dr. Vijay, she was able to just really connect with him. He helped her through a traumatic experience while the gunmen and everyone was running around the hospital. Someone actually got shot right outside the door where she was, and she was kind of panicked. But while they were able to connect and have this moment, she also realized that she was happy where she was. And so she's going to stay in New York. He invited her to actually move in with him, which it looks like she's going to do. And for those of you that don't remember, Ella is carrying Dr. Vijay's child. That is his son's girlfriend, but the son kind of ran off. So he's, stepping up to the plate. So yeah, that just looks like a happy ending. So I just wanted to throw that in there I didn't want y'all to think that I forgot or I missed something important. So let's get into our final special segment of the day, which is our health special segment. And with this segment, you guys know I always give you some type of health tip. I think we talked about meditation. We talked about diet once. I mean, we talked about so much. But since this is the first show back and we didn't talk about it before we went on break, and they haven't really been talking about it in the news, and there are a number of reasons why, but I'm going to avoid getting too political on this particular show. The topic that I'm talking about is healthcare. You guys know there was a Democratic debate. Every time we turn on the news, healthcare tends to be one of the first few things that people talk about. And if you are in certain states, there are certain states where enrollment into the Affordable Care Act is still open and going. It's not a large number of states. The majority of these states are blue states, so that tells you why it's still open. All of the red states are closed. It actually closed December 31st. But for states like California, it's open until the 31st of January. Massachusetts is open until the 23rd. There's a chart that's probably on your screen right now, so just look at the chart. You can go and still enroll in healthcare so that you have health insurance for this year. In California, there's actually a bunch of programs that can help you even pay for the healthcare, so you can get it at a really, 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 really discounted price. So I just admonish all of you as we're covering all of these health topics and everything, you have to have, or you should have, some form of health insurance, because you just never know when something may happen and you don't want to be caught in a situation where you just cannot afford to be well and healthy. So if you're in one of the states where the enrollment is still going on and still open, please go ahead and do your research, do what you need to do to enroll. If by chance you have missed the enrollment period in your particular state, if you go to Josh, could you tell us the website that I...
Sure, it's healthmarkets.com.
If you go to healthmarkets.com, you can find out information about if you're in a state where the enrollment has closed. You can find out steps where maybe there's some loophole that you can get into, or what your options are. Just go to... Give me the website again.
Healthmarkets.com.
Go to healthmarkets.com to get your information. And when we come back next week, I will just have a piece of information. But I wanted to at least drop this for you guys since we didn't get to talk about this before we went on break. It's very important that you guys get covered and get your insurance for this year. All right. So let's go ahead and get into my predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
And you know what? The interesting thing is I always have some type of conspiracy theory. I always or usually have something for you guys in my predictions. And for once, I have nothing. And the reason I have nothing is because, one, I know that my prediction of Evie and Dr. Reynolds breaking up, that just does not look like it's going to happen. So I think I'm about to get off of that bus in a minute. But then also in the previews that we saw for upcoming episodes, this episode seems to only be about Dr. Sharpe. So I don't really know what's going to happen with her. I think at some point she may get reinstated. I think they're going to go a while with her not being in the position that she was in, just because it makes for great television and it adds to the drama of everything. But I do think eventually she will get reinstated. But that's really the only main prediction that I have. I feel like everything else they kind of wrapped up and tied with a pretty decent bow. So we kind of get to start with a clean slate moving forward. Something else that I failed to mention earlier is that Dr. Bloom, she performed a surgery. You guys know she just had surgery on her leg. She performed this surgery without any medication, so she was in severe pain. And she also got down to the bottom of who stole her medication, and it was actually Dr. Zach Ligon who stole her medication. He admitted to it right in like the final minutes of the episode. You guys know Dr. Bloom really, really cared for him, but she told him in a very heartfelt way with a kiss on the lips and everything that I can no longer be with you, and after you get help and after you get clean and after you go through rehab, please don't call me, don't email me. We cannot be in contact. So that's the end of that love affair. So I do know that for a fact. So that's all I got for my predictions. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. You guys know you can catch me right here every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Covering the latest in New Amsterdam news. I am your man, Tyler Tyson. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me on tonight. I will see y'all next week. Peace.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.